it's Jazz from Caitlin and Jazz Books, and today I'm going to be looking through all of my favourite books from 2016, i.e. the books that I've given 5 stars to. Firstly, I would like to apologise for not actually uploading for the last couple of weeks, and that is because I have had exams, which anyone in year 11 or, you know, any school doing exams ever will know that it's very stressful, and I just didn't have time to upload, so very kindly Caitlin uploaded for me, so there's the story behind that before we do anything else. Now, I don't really give 5-star reviews a lot, so this list is actually quite short considering how many books I've read this year, and this year I have read a lot of books. This is probably the year I've read the most books ever in my life, because quite frankly, up to this year, I'd kind of gone off reading, not like because I didn't like it, but because I just didn't realise how much I loved it, if that makes sense. And then Caitlin said, hey, do you want to do a YouTube channel? So I said yeah, and that's what kind of got me into it. So this year I have read a total of, I don't know, it's like over 60 books, but out of that there is only 8 books this whole year I've given 5 stars to, and today I'm going to be talking about them. Just really quickly before I start, my current read is Eclipse by Stephanie Meyer, which is the 3rd book in the Twilight Saga. I haven't actually started reading it yet because this morning I finished my other book, which is The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry by Rachel Joyce. It made me cry, okay? It's really emotional, but I'm excited to start this, but yeah, let's get into the video. So the first video on my pile of best reads of 2016 actually surprised me because I don't remember loving it, but it has 5 stars, so here we go. And that book is Paper Towns by John Green. I remember I wanted to see the film so badly, so I got the book, obviously, and I read it, and for some reason I really loved it. I didn't give 5 stars to Fault in Our Stars, even though I liked that more, and yet I gave this 5 stars. So I don't know why this is on here, really, because it was a really good book, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. I just don't think it deserved 5 stars, in my opinion. But, you know, maybe that's because over the last year my taste in books has developed slightly, I don't know. But January me, who was reading this book, really enjoyed it, so there we go. The second book I read this year, which I gave 5 stars to, was so amazing. I loved it so much. I got through it in I don't even know, but it was less than a day. And it's quite a big book, not gonna lie. I read the whole thing in a day because I literally couldn't put it down. It was like my hands were glued to the cover and I couldn't put it down until I'd finished it. And it made me cry so much. It wasn't just like a single tear, it was like full on ugly crying. And I'm happy I went through that because it was such an amazing book, okay? And that book is The Art of Being Normal by Lisa Williamson. And it's about 2 transgender people just trying to find their way in the world. This sounds really cheesy now I say it. But it's about 2 transgender people trying to work through the hate that's coming at them in this world. And it's really moving, really sad, but also really happy. The ending, oh, my little heart. I really loved this book. Okay, I really did love this book. It was one of the best books I think I've read this year. If I had to rate these 5-star books, this would be somewhere near the top because it was so amazing. I did have one issue with this book, and the issue was that Leo, even after Kate says that she wants to be called Kate, he still calls her David, and that's the only issue I had because, I just thought it was a bit insensitive seeing as what Leo has gone through, but I did love this book so much. So much. This will always have a special place in my heart, and I'm so glad I read it this year. The book this year that I gave 5 stars to was The 5th Wave by Rick Yancy, and oh my gosh, it was so good. This is before I knew the second book existed, okay, and before I read the sequel, and before I hated the sequel, so therefore that hate has kind of rubbed off on this a little bit. But at the time when I was reading this, I loved this so much, because I love the whole concept of aliens coming to Earth and sort of apocalyptic aftermath of what would happen. And this captured exactly how I imagined it, and it led you through the stages of how it happened and everything, and I just really loved the characters. I wasn't a massive fan of how the point of view changed without even telling you, but let's scoop that aside. I really loved Cassie. I thought she was a great character. I liked the idea of the story. I liked her wanting to go and save her brother despite the impossible odds, and meeting this mysterious dark stranger, who I didn't particularly like, but, I didn't really go much into his, point of view, so I was fine with that, whatever. But I loved the general concept of aliens attacking Earth and killing everyone. I really like apocalyptic books. Merry Christmas. So the next book that's on my list is quite controversial, not gonna lie, because Caitlin absolutely hated this book, and then I read it, and I loved it. Like, I don't understand how we could have two such really different opinions when we like the same thing, like taste in books, you know? And that book is Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Paige. I really loved this because it was a really dark fantasy, and it was quite graphic in places, and I have explained in the past that I really like graphic descriptions and things like that, because it just adds to the creepiness, and I just loved it because I've always loved The Wizard of Oz ever since I was little, and then this was like bringing me back into the world, but it was a whole lot darker, and I loved it. I loved Amy Gum, I loved her character, I loved the backstory, and I loved everything she stood for. I really liked all the characters in it, they're all so good. The relationship building was amazing, on point even, and the actual whole theme of the book, like Dorothy needs to die, I just love how all the tension was built up and everything, and it was just so good. I really want to get the second one. I put it on my Christmas list. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. But like the second one's that big, and I don't understand, because it's like a third of the size, so something pretty amazing better happen. Please don't be like the Infinite Sea and ruin the first one for me. I loved it so much. That's all I have to say. It was just so good. So the next book, I was actually going to give 4 stars to, and then I read it, and then I realised it was better than the first one, which I had given 4 stars to, but it didn't feel like 4.5 stars, so I gave it 5. So that book is don't drop it, don't drop it. This book is Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard, and it's the second book in the Red Queen series. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. It follows the story of Mare just after the first book, and she's just escaped from Maven's dark clutches, and they're plotting to destroy him and destroy the queen and him, and it's just really good. She's basically recruiting other people with silver abilities just like her. So good, loved it. I bought this on holiday with me, and I read it for like half of it, and it was so good. I was just like devouring it while sitting on the beach. I mean, I could have been doing other stuff, but I was just sat here reading my book in the sun, and I got a tan, and it was great. But this is pure genius, so good. This is one of the rare books, like sequels, which is actually better than the first one, in my opinion. But that's my opinion nonetheless. And I thought it was pure genius and brilliant. This next book I don't actually have with me, and there is a reason for that. That book is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child by J.K. Rowling, and I know so many people did not enjoy it. They hated it, they thought, oh my gosh, this is like really badly written fan fiction, they shouldn't be part of the Harry Potter world. It made a whole load of loose ends come undone, and the characters weren't the same, etc., etc. But I was imagining it on stage, how it would look to people if they were watching the actual play, and to me, in my head, the play was fantastic. I would give anything to go and see that play. It would be amazing. But like, I didn't really think about the characters that much. I just thought of the whole plot, and I know the plot had some weird bits in it, the whole Voldemort thing, and I'm not going to go into spoilers because, you know, spoilers, but I really enjoyed it. Like, I don't know, unpopular opinion, I liked it. I just thought, like, because I hadn't read Harry Potter in so long, and it was like returning to the world of magic, and I liked it. There were some bits that I didn't like, but it didn't take away from the overall story, if that makes sense. Like, I already did a review of this. If you want to see it, go watch it. So I'm not really going to go any more into this, but just know that despite everyone else, I love. The next book, which I gave 5 stars to, was Everything Everything by Nicola. I can't say her name. Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. So good. You may notice there is a bookmark in this book, and no, I'm not the one rereading it. Basically, me and my mum did a book swap. I said, you never read any of the books that I like, I think you need to understand, and then she said that I never read any of the books that she liked. So, she gave me The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry, which I just finished reading, and I gave her this. And she's got really far through actually, she's nearly done. And she loves it, and it makes me so happy, because this is such a good book. I usually hate romance books, I do not really like them that much. But this was so cute, and such an easy read that I fell in love with it. Like, I also read this on holiday this year, and I read it on my way back in the car, and if you know me, you know I hate reading in the car because it makes me feel so ill. but I was willing to go through that so I could finish this damn book because it was so good. It's basically about a girl called Maddie who has baby bubble disease, and it basically means that she can't leave the house because she's allergic to pretty much everything. And then a boy Ollie moves in next door and they fall in love and it's really cute. And yeah, if you haven't read it, you need to read it because it's so good. So good. The last book that I gave 5 stars to this year, unless I finish another amazing book this year that I gave 5 stars to, well, this is the last book this year that I gave 5 stars to, and that is The Call by Paedar of Guilin. And I did do a review of this, so you should go watch this if you want the spoiler version, if you've read it, but it's so good. I loved it. This is probably my favourite book I've read this year, by far. Despite all these other books, this is probably my favourite at this point in time. It's about people getting taken to this dark void world where they get killed by fairies in really gruesome ways, and they have to survive there in order to, live. And it's set in this school where they're training kids not to be killed by these fairies when they get called by them into their world. And it's so amazing. Paedar of Guilin. If I was wearing a hat, I would take it off to you because your writing style is fantastic. I wasn't sure about it at first, but I grew to love it. I love the characters. I liked the graphicness. I was reading reviews of this book. Everyone hated it because of how graphic it was. Yes, it is graphic. Yes, some parts of it are disgusting, but it adds to the general feel of the story. It's meant to be horrible. It's not meant to be a happy event. People are getting killed, and it's not nice. So I thought it just added to the story, and like I said, I don't mind things like this. I think it's great. I don't know. But it is by far one of the best books I've read this year. And I have Caitlin to thank for this, because she got me this from Yao. This was a free copy. She didn't have to get this for me, but if she hadn't, I would have missed out on probably one of the best books I'm ever going to read in my life. So, you should read this. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'm really sorry that I haven't been in a lot of videos recently, but yeah, I will be seeing Caitlin on Tuesday, so maybe we'll make a video then. I don't know. But Merry Christmas if I don't make another video or if you don't see me on YouTube before then. So Merry Christmas everyone that's watching. I hope you do something really good for the holidays. Well, until Christmas I know I'm going to be binge watching Walking Dead because I've recently got into it and it's so good. So good. It's right down my alley as well. Anyway, I hope you have a really good Christmas. If I don't see you before New Year, Happy New Year. Bye guys!